Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's another episode of Let's Talk Broncos, the Thursday edition. I'm sitting here with my main man to the right of me. Yet again, it's Frankie Abbott.
Oh,
Frankie, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Doing
How are you
pretty
feeling about
well.
the game?
Well, honestly, it's a gloomy day and the Broncos play the Chiefs. So I'm not doing great. I'm concerned. I'm a little scared for my health, but it's another day of Broncos football and I'm painfully, it's one of those things where it's like I'm not excited to watch, but then I think to myself, I'm like, man, think about that 8-month stretch or 9-month stretch where I'm just sitting there and I'm like, man, it'd be really nice to have a Denver game this week.
Okay.
So, I'm kind of like I'm excited. I hope we get some touchdowns. How are you doing?
Colton Cooper says he's unwell.
Yeah.
First, Frankie, before I that which is hilarious. Before I get into it, I want to compliment you. You're wearing the Jake the Snake jersey, Broncos legend.
We had to.
You're wearing the Jake the Snake jersey. I love it. And but I'm doing okay. I'm looking forward to the NFL draft. It's going to be a really good time when that happens. The Broncos are playing the Chiefs today, though. But before we get into that, because that's going to be the meat of the show, I want to ask you, we had a couple reports come out recently. One being Frank Clark. He restructured his deal, took a lot less money, makes him easier to cut or to trade. Can you give me your opinion on that one? And then we have another report after that.
Yeah, man. Makes sense. It's another move just to let Jonathan Cooper and Baron Browning, who will be eventually coming back, of course, and Nick Bonito kind of eat up those snaps and get to show their stuff as rookies. Kind of one of those things where it kind of a signing that didn't really work out. But I was saying this earlier. We were talking about this. Like, I think that the idea behind a Frank Clark signing is still like that shouldn't be something that Denver shies away from. Those cheap 1-year contracts that you can get out of really easily. Those guys that have, shown production throughout their careers, those guys that I think are valuable locker room guys to have. That's not me trying to say that Frank Clark has been those things for Denver. That's me saying that's kind of what I think the idea behind that signing is. So, end of the day, in signings that have not worked out over the past few years, this one probably doesn't crack the top 5-10 for me. It's kind of, and if they get a pick out of it, that'd be pretty sweet. I have a feeling it'll probably end up being a pick swap, but like, dude, if they could get a 4-year contract, like a 4-year rookie deal, even if it's a 6th, 7th rounder, I don't care. That's made money right there.
Yeah, it's like when the NBA buys 2nd-round picks.
Yep.
That's what it reminds me of. And if that's a possibility, I'm all for it. The Broncos should do this every single year.
Yeah,
now,
that's basically
Frankie,
just
before the show, you even mentioned to me, you were like, it's probably going to be more of a pick swap. And you're right. If Frank Clark is traded, it's probably more in a deal like that. But even if you could just get a low pick for him, hey, I'm happy for it. I like it.
Yeah.
The other move, Frankie, is it sounds like Jerry Jeudy probably is going to get moved. An NFL executive came out and said he thinks they're shopping Jerry Jeudy. Another report came out saying Indianapolis was a team that called on him. Would you consider if the Broncos ended up trading Randy Gregory, Frank Clark, and Jerry Jeudy, would you classify that as tanking?
I don't know. Probably more like smart resource management for the future. Tanking just has such a harsh connotation.
Yeah, people don't like it. People are on my ass about that every time I say that. But it means the exact same thing, and I'm tired of you people coming after me for it. It literally means the exact same thing.
Because these dudes aren't trying to lose, Joey. They're not trying to lose. Because, okay, the front office might be saying, yes, it would be smarter for us to focus on the future. But the important thing, the difference, and I know that you don't think this, but the difference, I think a lot of people think this, the coaching staff and the players are not going out there trying to lose. The players mainly because if you go out onto an NFL football field and you're not like playing to try to like not get killed, you're going to die out there. And coaches, because they will lose their jobs immediately and get ran out of town.
Frankie, I'm not going to let you get away with this because who do we say is in control? Is it George Payton or Sean Payton? We've had this discussion on here before. You said the coaches don't want to tank, so I just want to clarify something.
I don't think Sean Payton is out here saying, I would like to lose games this season. I don't think that, no.
He sure as hell isn't trying to win. That's all I'm saying. If you trade Jerry Jeudy, you're sure as hell not trying to win. You're not trying to make your team better for this year. You are actively making the team worse in gaining future assets. That's tanking. I'm sorry. You're not trying to win football games this year. That's not on the top of your priority list.
We don't got to keep getting into this. The difference is he's not actively like going into games and being like, what's up, offensive coordinator? got under contract for this year, I'm going to tank your whole career. He's not looking at, offensive, like, because again, like,
why are you getting up out of here so I don't have to go through it?
And but I think that's more what it is. I think he's being like, you're not living up to my standards, you're gone. I don't think it's him being like, I'm trying to make this team worse. I think it's him saying people need to be held accountable and you're not living up to our standards.
All right, well, I'll let you live on that. I disagree. People know I disagree, though. And then, okay, let's hop into the game tonight, though. People don't want to talk about that before the Chiefs game. The Broncos haven't beat the Chiefs since Nam. And I'm wondering, Frankie, is there any chance right now? You read the thumbnail. It literally says, is there a chance? Let me know. Is there a chance?
I'll be the guy. Yeah, there's a chance. Any given Sunday, baby. Paul, you're going crazy.
I love you, Paul. Joey, Frankie, wink, wink, tank. Yeah. Okay. Continue.
This is what we call a good old trap game right here. No one's giving the Broncos any credit going into this game. They got the worst defense in NFL history. I'm not saying they're going to win, but they don't have no chance. Anything can happen at the start of any given football game. It takes 60 minutes of good play. Is it likely? No. Would I put money on it? No. Would I put my friends' money on it? Probably not. But yes, I will be the guy to say it is possible. We could see Russell Wilson and Sean Payton concoct an absolute game, and there's a couple timely turnovers, and who knows? It's a short week. Sean Payton's the best coach Denver's had against Andy Reid in a while. It's possible, but it's probably not going to happen. It's probably like a 99% chance. I will say this too, and this is probably why, Joe. Are you ready for this? This is the exact reason why. You better be hyped.
Why are you lying to the audience right now?
Because I watched the movie.
Why are you lying to the audience right now?
I watched the movie Miracle today.
He's talking about I wouldn't put my friend's money on it. Listen to me right now. I wouldn't put my worst enemy's money on it. I wouldn't do it.
Is there a chance? And I'm telling the people, Joey, there's a chance. There's always a chance.
Yeah, I guess. There's a chance.
The Jets gave this Chiefs team a game like a week ago.
Also, I want to shout out Paul real quick again. Paul, thank you so much, man. Paul is also very active on Twitter and always supporting us. So a big shout out to Paul. Really, really, really appreciate you. Thank you for always tuning in and being a supporter. Colton Cooper chimes in. He says, is Pacheco going to have 1,000,000 yards tonight?
Yes.
So the Broncos have a chance, but Pacheco's going to...
Joey, I'm not saying like, oh, I think it's likely, but you're saying, is there a chance? It's an NFL game, damn it. These guys got pride. There's always a chance. But okay, as far as the Pacheco thing, dude, I've been thinking about that all week. Not Pacheco necessarily. Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to throw anyone under buses. Jonathan Harris, Elijah Garcia, and Matt Henningsen are not great run defenders, and they've been getting beat up a little bit. I'm worried for their health tonight. I genuinely hope that, because they're going to get escorted out the stadium a couple times, and it's going to be crazy. So yes, Pacheco is probably going to have a game.
Dude, Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey are
some guys.
So good. For those that don't know, those guys are ballers. They are really, really good.
And it feels like every year one of them gets a highlight against Denver on a crazy, I think it was last year where Justin Simmons, or maybe it was Kwan, got absolutely obliterated by Trey Smith on a screen pass, and it was going around the interwebs for the rest of the year.
And this is why I hate the Chiefs. Okay, let me tell you. Other than just the rivalry, of course they hit on Trey Smith in the 6th round.
Oh, of course.
Of course, Creed Humphrey works out when Creed Humphrey was injured his entire college career. Right. I mean, he had injury flags if I've ever seen injury flags.
Rasheed Rice is looking like a guy, another example.
Yeah, I mean, it's out of control what they do. Here's my thought, Frankie, and I've been saying this for a while. And you want peace of mind playing the Chiefs? One, we start off. If it's free agency, everybody is a Chief until proven otherwise. That's where we have to start. Every single player is a Chief. Just get that out of the way. Get that in your brain so that when they don't get a player, it's a win. We're all celebrating. Secondly, whoever they draft, really good.
They draft well. I mean, we're draft dudes. Every year I'm like, fuck, they got him. I think it was last year. We're literally 6 out of their 10 picks. I remember being like, damn, and their late round picks too. Leo Chenal they got a couple years ago, and I was like, oh my God, Brian Cook. so many George Karlaftis, who's kind of starting to turn out.
Willie Gay and Nick Bolton are ballers.
Yeah, like
Trent. Man, for those that followed my draft coverage,
right?
I was the biggest Trent McDuffie guy in the world. And what is he playing like? He's playing like a top 5 cornerback this year. He really is. He looks like a shutdown guy. So, Frankie, you're asking how you're saying the Broncos do have a chance. I do agree with you at the end of the day. I'm kind of being sarcastic here. The Broncos do have a chance. Is it a big chance? No.
Someone's got to be the.
Tell me how the Broncos accomplish that. Tell me their best. What's a stat line look like for the Broncos win?
Got to hold on to the ball. Turnovers would be so big in this game. I think we've seen how bad the turnovers have hurt. You think about the fumble last week. You think about just like the ill-timed turnovers, and they've been a lot better, but it's just kind of like those little errors, muffed punts, whatever it is. If they can have none of those, that would be huge. As far as defense, I'm not even like, here's the thing. It's one of those where it's like they're going to get theirs. The Chiefs are going to score 28 points in this game. The question is, can Denver create a timely turnover or a sack? Who knows? Maybe a defensive touchdown, a special teams touchdown. Can they create one of those big swing plays outside of the offense?
Right.
If they can get one of those, and then the offense has like, I'm not trying to say like a perfect day, but one of those near perfect days, no turnovers. We see Sean emphasize the run game because the run game has like every week. Go and look at my video if you haven't. Run game's looking better and better every single week. Like he hasn't been emphasizing as much as I think I would like to, and a lot of people would like to, but the run game has been working. Chris Jones is looking like a defensive player of the year right now, but that is kind of the recipe I would see. Let's try to actually play some smart ball control football. Let's actually let's have Russ see the field well and keep the ball moving. And just pray to God for one of those big swing plays, whether it's a huge Nick Bonito sack that results in a fumble, whether it's Pat Surtain making a pick on one of these, I don't want to say lesser receivers, but they don't really have that star receiver. They have Travis Kelce, who's obviously their ace, but he's, you're not really putting Surtain on him too much. Like, have one of those big swing plays happen and have a clean day on offense. Denver's got a chance. Is it a good chance? No, but that would be the recipe I would put out there.
I would say, Frankie, here's my strategy.
Hold on, I got one more.
Okay, give me it.
And God damn it, be aggressive on 4th down.
Wow,
Sean, what is this shit, man? Last week we've got like 4th and 4 and 4th and 5, like at the goal line.
They're way too conservative right now.
This defense sucks, man. Like it's one of those things where it's like, bro, like I don't know how. Don't get me wrong, I get it. Sean might not have the most faith in the offense. How in God's name he can look at this defense like, hey guys, we just got 3. I trust you to not give up 7 points. Like you literally can't. You cannot tell me at any point through this season he's looking at himself and saying, I trust the defense to get us the ball back, or I trust the defense to hold them to like under 7. Like genuinely, it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, I do not understand it so far. I know a lot of people are like, oh, he's probably tanking. I want to be like, okay, but he was doing this in week 1 and 2 too. And I kind of want to be like, bro, I feel like you're here to make the offense be really good, and the offense has been efficient. That's the other thing that kills me too. The offense has been really efficient, so I don't get why he's so like, man, we need 3-4 yards, punt it. Like, bitch, come on.
Yeah,
so, yeah, that was my last point.
It is a little. I mean, the Broncos definitely have to be more aggressive on offense. That's one thing for sure. You can't trust the defense at this point. You can't. If you want to win, well, also, I mean, I don't want to get into the tanking stuff again, but if you're trying to win football games, you go for it on more 4th downs because you're not stopping a soul out there. Right now, the Broncos have a historically bad defense, one of the worst defenses of all time, if not through 5 games. So you're not stopping a soul out there. You're not stopping anybody. You have to be more aggressive on offense. You shouldn't have any faith in your defense.
Yeah. Think about
I'll give you my keys, Frankie. And people are going to like to hear it because Mahomes is amazing. He's like the best quarterback of all time against the blitz and all that type of stuff. But here's the thing. How do you get those swing plays?
Oh, yeah.
If the Broncos aren't stopping anybody, no one's going to remember if the Broncos are worse than they are right now on defense. No one's going to remember. Send everything. Be aggressive. Be so aggressive on defense. Try to create those swing plays. Try to get our offense back on the field. Mm-hmm. Another thing I want to see is, okay, the Broncos haven't been running the football a lot. I accredit a lot of that to the Broncos falling behind early a lot. So they're having to throw the ball. I would come out, if the Broncos win the coin flip, I'm not deferring. I want the ball first. I'm not trying to fall behind in this game. I want to get the ball rolling. I want to control the clock. I want that. My offense is going to have to be my defense this game. That's pretty much what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to send hell at the quarterback and try to confuse the quarterback on defense. That's pretty much my game plan. But yeah, I would say running the football is really important. And to do that, the Broncos are going to have to be playing with somewhat of a lead. So Sean Payton gets the ball first. I want him to have one of his awesome scripts that have been consistent through the season for the most part. Score first drive, be up 7-0, and play it from there. That's kind of what I want to see.
Yeah. No, yeah. I like that.
Did you have anything to add to that, Frankie?
No, I mean, just with the run game, like just keep it simple. Like that's I think one of the big things. He's shown so much different stuff, which is really fun for me as someone who likes to watch this stuff. But I think there's some stuff that has just worked pretty well this year that we don't see them go to enough. Like, this is going to sound like such a silly small thing, but Michael Burton has been awesome this year. Michael Burton as a blocker and as a ball carrier has been a very effective short yardage weapon. Use him more. He's gotten like 3 carries this year. Like, give him the ball. Last week, that 2-point conversion, he just walked in because I don't think that because they did Jaleel in motion. Everyone's like, well, this guy's probably getting the ball because he has 30 touches this year. And our fullback has like 2, but he's a really good fullback. Like little things like that where I just want to be like, just keep it simple. Our duo looks have looked good. Chris Manhertz is blocking the hell out of people right now. Like
he is.
Let's get downhill.
Better than I even thought he would play.
It's a little odd to me how like the team will look really good in between the 20s, punching the ball downhill. But then he'll get inside the 5 and he's like, let's pull out all these like empty or let's go these reverses. Let's go this stuff. And it's just kind of like, bro, like just keep it a little easier, you know, like once you first and second down, let's get as close as possible and let's set up an easy 3rd and 4th, you know, and then who knows, let's just fucking knock it in if we're close enough.
No, I totally agree. Here's a question. We were just talking about running the football, Frankie. That's something that you want to see more of. Who do you think should get the most carries on this team at the end of the day?
Ooh, I mean,
like if it were just carries, who would you give the most carries to? Or
this is going to be a cheat out answer. It really depends upon game script, you know? Like, it's one of those things where, like, I think all 3 of these running backs fill different roles. Like, Jaleel McLaughlin should probably get the most designed touches, if that makes sense. Yeah. But as far as, like, again, Jaleel McLaughlin, like, looks incredible as a ball carrier right now. He's not that good as a pass protector, so a lot of teams can key in on the fact when he's in the game that he is probably the one who's going to touch the rock. So it's kind of one of those things where, again, it kind of depends upon what you're trying to do. If they're passing the ball a lot, if they're going to have to be out of the gun and they're going to need their back to block, you're probably going to see Samaje get closer to like the 10, 12 carry mark. But I think they have 3 backs that can all kind of handle a workload that's between like 8 to 15 carries. On like a positive game script for Denver, it should be Jaleel McLaughlin getting the most design rushing touches though, because he's the most effective carrier of the football in this.
Yeah, and it's weird, Frankie. I think he's the best with the ball in his hands in any situation.
Between the tackles,
I don't think there's one situation so far through the season. I think Javonte in other years have shown that he would be the most talented. But this year, so far, from what we've seen, Jaleel McLaughlin in any situation is best carrying the football on this team.
Yeah.
I'm talking up the middle. He's looked great reading holes and stuff like that. Like his vision is something that I'm so impressed with because I've kind of learned scouting these NFL running backs, projecting them to the NFL. That's not really something you develop.
No,
it's not like there are players that I've seen get better at it, but that's an innate ability for the most part. You can see improvement, but they're not going to go from really bad to really good. That's just something that's not going to happen. And Jaleel McLaughlin has a natural ability at that. And it doesn't matter what the situation is. I could run him straight up the middle, and he's going to find a way to find a gap and kind of squeeze his way up for 5 yards.
Yeah.
And that's something I think both P. Ryan and Javonte Williams lack. I think both of them lack that.
Oh, yeah.
P. Ryan doesn't – I'm not even sure he really reads the gaps. He runs – boom, straight. If someone's in my way, I'm trying to run you over. I'm not really trying to move a lot, anything. I'm a north and south runner. Get me upfield.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Javonte, he came into the league with those problems. And, I mean, when he was at his best, he would make plays that he read wrong, right? Mm-hmm. Because he is absurd at breaking tackles at that time. Absurd. No one, the first guy never brought him down. It was always a crew. So he would make it look good, but it's still something he lacked. And I kind of think that's the issue with him right now. He's not breaking as many tackles as he used to.
No, and I mean, I'd say his vision has also kind of stepped down. And something too is like the offense so far, like this, something that's kind of surprised me so far throughout the year, but it makes sense with kind of what the, the motion around the league is. Like this offense has been very, like I was commenting on this to Robbie. It's a lot of Kyle Shanahan stuff. Like they're running a lot of outside zone, a lot more zone blocking than I thought they would in the running game. And that makes sense when you have a back like Jaleel McLaughlin, like we're talking about with all this vision. Like think about all the amazing like 7th round undrafted pick of 49ers running backs that randomly explode in fantasy football for a few weeks. Like that's kind of exactly what the mold of a Jaleel McLaughlin, just this incredibly fast guy with electric vision who knows how to hit these cutback lanes when he needs to in these zone blocks. That's basically what we're seeing work out of a lot in Denver right now. And like you said, that scheme has just never really fit what Javonte does. And then Samaje is here just to kind of be that change of pace pass blocking back. And he's kind of doing his job.
He's pretty much a pass blocking back.
Yeah. And it's kind of, sorry, finish what you're saying. I was just going to say, it's kind of like, and this isn't me trying to knock Javonte. It's kind of one of those things where like, when you look at like the kind of the pathway a lot of these backs take, you can almost kind of see Javonte falling into that Samaje Perine category in his career. Not necessarily soon, but like being that really good pass blocking can kind of do a little bit of everything type of back. And this isn't me trying to take away from Javonte at all. Samaje Perine has made a long NFL career being a running back. A lot of running backs can't say that. Like, so I think that's kind of one of those things where you kind of see almost a little bit of like, it is honestly a little bit of redundancy between the two right there. So kind of just a little side.
It is. They're a little redundant in their skill sets.
Because Javonte can pass block, dude.
Javonte can really pass block. Now, if we're talking Javonte from a year ago, from what we saw at the beginning of last year, he's a completely different back. He really is. He just hasn't been that guy this year so far. He hasn't been that same at breaking tackles, like I said. Frankie, I kind of want to flip the conversation over to wide receivers. Do you think, let's say the Broncos do move on from Jerry Jeudy, right?
Yeah.
And Courtland Sutton has been a guy in trade talks. I think the Broncos, there's a possibility, I wouldn't say likelihood, but a possibility that both of them get moved. Is that okay? Do you think that's fine? Do you think there are players on this team that could step up and be all right?
I mean, for this year, like, not to be that guy, and it's funny because who cares? Who cares? It doesn't matter. They have guys like Kendall Hinton and Little Jordan Humphrey on the practice squad that if they need a guy to play the X or the Y or the Z for the last 10 weeks of the season while they check out some youngsters, doesn't really matter. They'll be fine. I do think I am a little interested if they should move both. I think Jeudy seems like he's definitely gone. It seems like his kind of like
he's the one with the most value.
Doesn't seem to really enjoy his time in Denver, understandably so, but also, a little brought on by him also as well. It kind of seems like he's on the way out. Whereas a guy like Sutton's having an okay year and he hasn't been bad. And I think, Sutton's one of those tough cases where we all had these very high expectations and he obviously never got to really reach those post-injury. But Sutton is still like fine. Like Sutton is still a fine X in the NFL. Is he in that like top tier or two? Probably not. But he's still fine. Like I don't think having Courtland Sutton on, I can't think of what his contract is next year, but I don't think it's like, I'd imagine it's reasonable for what the value of receivers is in the NFL. Having a piece like Courtland Sutton to be the, maybe the other receiver next to Marvin Mims, while you don't necessarily have much capital to replenish that receiver room, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for me, whether that's for a rookie quarterback, whether that's for another receiver or another quarterback they're trying to have next year, whatever. Mainly because I just don't know what, I guess, and maybe it's just me, I just don't know what you're hoping to get for Courtland Sutton at this point. Like, yes, a 5th round pick or like a 4th.
I would hope a 4th. I would hope for a 4th.
Right, but it isn't like if they get a 4th, I think you kind of make that move because I think that could still end up being a top 100 pick, right? Mm-hmm. And you very rarely, but it's still like in that range of like, okay, we can still get a guy for under the contract control. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know if you necessarily want to move both just because I do think you want to have going forward, not just for this season, but like in the next year, I do think you would maybe like to have one guy who's a bit more like of a veteran presence. You know what I mean? Like who just is like more of like a stable player, you know?
Right.
But I don't know. It's tough. What do you think?
I'm going to make more of a prediction. I'll tell you what I think is going to happen.
Mhm.
I think Jerry Jeudy is going to get moved.
Yep.
For around a third. I think sooner rather than later. I think it happens before the trade deadline. I wouldn't be shocked if it happened this next week. I think that's a possibility. When you see the rumors coming out, guys, I want to make this clear because people were arguing with me about this all last season or this last offseason. When you see those reports of, hey, this guy is being made available, and then, a GM or a coach might come out. We're just taking calls. That's what we're doing. Any good team takes calls. Let me tell you guys something right now. Yes. Yeah. Every GM does take calls. We only hear about the ones that are actually being shopped around. There's a reason why those are coming out. There's a reason why when Tom Brady was in New England during his prime, we didn't hear any reports of the Broncos called to see if Tom Brady was available. Why? Because the Patriots would never trade him. Like, they're only reporting the stuff that they see a possibility of happening. These reporters don't want to look like idiots at the end of the day, and they're not going to go out of their way to make themselves look stupid. You're going to hear about the stuff that's a possibility. So this whole last offseason, you heard about Jerry Jeudy and you heard about Courtland Sutton. But now we're fast forwarding, and I think Jerry Jeudy gets moved. I think they wait for Courtland Sutton, and I think it's going to happen this offseason. I think they're going to keep one around just to try to make Russ look comfortable and be comfortable, and then they're going to end up trading him this offseason. And here's the other part too. Do you think the Broncos, how quickly can they rebuild this wide receiver room if they do trade both of them?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like such a big part of receiver rooms in the NFL is just having a true guy. So, right. I mean, it really just depends upon like we'll get into how they could have a bunch of first round picks to possibly go get one of these guys possibly in a little bit. But, it's kind of about how they dedicate those resources. If they went out and drafted Marvin Harrison at number 4 this year, the receiving core will probably be pretty damn good next year. I don't care who else they put out there because I think Marvin Harrison is a Jamar Chase level of receiver that like, you get him, and then you just need complementary pieces. So I think that's kind of one of those where I think you can rebuild a receiver core fairly quickly. You look at how the Jaguars did it in like a few off seasons. Obviously, they had to spend a lot of capital, but like, they went from being literally a dumpster fire receiver core to now like they probably have one of the best receiver cores in the NFL, if we're being honest. Like,
and you have Evan Ingram, who's damn near
Christian Kirk.
Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley. They have guys over there.
Yeah, Zay Jones too.
Guys.
Like, they got dudes. So like I think that they can figure that out pretty quickly. And then as far as like the Sutton thing, I mean, it's a question of how much more value can you really get out of him. Oh, and then this was the other thing I wanted to talk about with like because it was funny. I saw a lot of people making the comments when Sean was like, yeah, we're not like actively like calling around for people. I want to be like, yeah, but like, of course not. Like, that's how you lose all your, hey, what will you give me for Jerry Jeudy? Like, I don't know, bro, nothing. Like, what are you talking? Like, that's how you lose all your leverage. But he's making it known they're available. It's like, yeah, he's taking calls on them. Like, I just always think that is, well, he just said he's not shopping them. It's like, yeah, no shit. That's how you lose all your leverage when you call someone and then literally say to their face, hey, I'm trying to get rid of this guy. Please, what will you give me for him? Like, yeah, I'd hope to God they're not doing that with their first round. Like, let people know he's available. Yes.
Oh my God.
But like I just always love that because I was just like, yeah, man. Like, I think he gave the perfect coach answer because like that's what you're gonna say. Like, oh, yeah, they're calling still. Like,
yeah, exactly. You can't.
And that's what the Dove.
You can't sell high if you're just calling every team talking about he's available. You can't do that. Teams are going to call on players that they think are available, and then you're going to start to see reports of, hey, they're having conversation, and then that's when you start to realize there's smoke there.
Exactly.
That's kind of how that works. I don't know, Frankie. Tell me. I want to kind of move it to the defensive side of the ball a little bit for the Broncos here.
Christ.
What the hell do you do, man?
You need to accumulate as many early picks as possible. And
no, for this game. I'm talking about the Chiefs game. What the hell do you do, Frankie? Let the people know. You talk about all the time how smart you are. Let the people know what you do. Let the people know what you do.
It's one of those things where there's just no right answer. Because it's like you were saying earlier, I want to be like, I don't know, play a lot of man blitz and hope you get home. But then it's like, fuck, Patrick Mahomes, really good at not taking sacks. Their offensive line is incredible, and Patrick Mahomes is one of the best quarterbacks in history against the blitz. Probably not a great idea there. Okay, maybe they should play more of this soft Vic Fangio stuff they've been trying to make work for weeks. Oh, wait, Vance has no clue how to call that. Literally no idea. Like, we've talked. We're like, it's a setup, man. That poor guy. Why would he take this job? Why? He was told in the interview, hey, man, you don't get to run the defense, we're going to give you a horrible defensive roster. And also you don't get to pick your entire defensive staff. 2 of the coaches you have to keep. And he was like, sure, I think that's going to make me a head coach. Like, what is he on, man?
I don't know. I mean, there's really, like you said, Frankie, there's no answer on how to stop the Chiefs.
Send it and pray.
Yeah, exactly. There's really no good answer on how you stop it. You're just looking for swing plays. Kyle says, shout out to Kyle too. I love Kyle. He's the man. He said, let Christian Parker call it. He is the guy who has experience in this system. He came up in this system. Young guy. He has no play calling experience, which is, I guess, the issue. But also at the same time, can it get worse? I mean, hey, I wouldn't mind him getting that job. My only pushback to this, I guess, would be I don't want to screw Christian Parker over. If Christian Parker started calling plays for this historically bad defense, who it sounds like gave up already. I mean, it's really sounding like that. Every report you see why Sean Payton's trading players is he doesn't think these guys aren't playing for him. They don't have championship pedigree. Right. I don't want to see Christian Parker have a terrible defense and watch his defensive coordinator in the future dreams crumble away because of it. So that would be my only pushback. But would the defense get better? Probably. I mean, I do think it would probably get better.
I think so. But then I'm also just like, dude, he has literally, he's been in the NFL for 4 seasons, 2 as an analyst, 2 as a DB coach. I'm not trying to bash Christian Parker. It's all, it's I'm assuming that Sean Payton and the rest of the coaching staff see enough of Christian Parker to know where he's at as a play caller. And again, they might really like him. And like you're saying, be like, man, why? I get it. I get you obviously want it to be better. I think there are probably better options if they want to go that route. And who knows, maybe he would come in and be a great play caller. I'm just of the mindset that with the fact that he has literally no experience, he hasn't been in the league very long. It's not something that I think would necessarily benefit the locker room. And as for the guys that would think a lift, I think the secondary might, but let's be honest, Patrick Surtain's probably one of the only guys playing really well on the team. I don't know if it really fixes anything, I'm sure maybe it gives them a morale boost for a week or 2, which I know everybody would feel good about. I just, like you said, I don't want to see 6 weeks from now after they make him defensive coordinator for 3 games. And then the entire fan base is running Christian Parker out of town because he had no fucking idea how to be a defensive coordinator, doesn't have a good defensive roster, and then was just handed the clipboard and they were like, fix what Vance did. And then everyone in the world hates him and his career's tanked. I just don't really want that.
Yeah, I get that. Kyle has a little counterpoint here, and I think it's a fair counterpoint as far as why the defense would play better. I think those guys would get a lift from him. They love him, and that's very true. From everybody I've heard, we've had multiple DBs on the Let's Talk Broncos podcast, and all of them praise Christian Parker greatly. I think everybody likes Christian Parker. He's on a lot of lists for – you have those inside guys write those articles on future coaches and stuff like that. Christian Parker makes every single one. Mm-hmm. So he's a guy definitely to circle. I hope the Broncos give him a shot this next offseason. If it's not this year, I would like to see him get a shot.
And we should say this too. If they are planning to give him a shot, give him a look. Give him a look. There's no reason not to then. If it's a thing of they're already I'm not trying to say but if they're just man, we don't think he necessarily has defensive coordinator yet, because there are some guys that are just better as positional coaches. And that's not a bad thing, dude. Like, look at what Mike Munchak was for decades as an offensive line coach. Like,
I was about to say most O-line coaches.
Look at Ed Donato, what he was as a DB coach for decades. Like, some of these guys are just really good as positional coaches, and they're just not like it. I'm sure he obviously wants to make that jump at some point, but some guys are just better fit as positional coaches, and Denver might see it that way, and that's not me saying that it's a bad decision, but yes, if they are thinking, hey, we're going to give him an interview next offseason anyway, give him an in-season interview. Let's see what he can do.
Fair. And I'm going to ask you one more question since we're on the defensive side of the ball before we give score predictions here and then we head out, Frankie. I want to know, we talked earlier about guys that could possibly be traded. Would you trade Justin Simmons at this point? Is that a person you would consider getting rid of?
Come on now. I've been saying to trade Justin Simmons for like 18 months now. And it's nothing against Justin. I absolutely love Justin, but like, guys, we're fun. Like, I've been saying it, man. What is the highest paid safety on a bad football team really do for you? Like, I'm not trying to bash Justin. Justin's absolutely incredible, but as far as like positional value in the sport of football, safety's probably in that like teen range of the positions, maybe more closer to like the tens, but it's not as high as some of these other elite, highly paid positions. And for a team that's has a shit ton of cap issues right now with the fact that they're about to, possibly move on from Russell Wilson, all these issues. He's 30 years old. I don't think they're going to give him another contract after this one. They would not, and not trying to bash Justin, they'd be pretty dumb to do that when their money finally opened up, they spent it on like an $18 million per year, 30-plus-year-old safety. It's just not the move. Send him to a contender. I wish they did it last offseason. I was preaching for it. The dude forced 9 turnovers in 12 games. The guy's value had never been higher. He was voted the best safety in the NFL like 2 years in a row, or like second best last year or something like that. It was such a good time to move him. He was part of one of the best defenses in the league, and we all knew regression was coming for the defense. Now, I really don't even know what his value's at. Like, it definitely hurts that he's a part of the worst defense in NFL history.
Higher or lower of what you put Judy?
Probably lower.
Oh,
when you factor in contract, I think it's probably, I guess I'd say that's probably about the same, but like which would you rather have? A young receiver with Judy that you're probably telling yourself has untapped potential?
It depends which team I am.
Or a 30-year-old safety with an $18 million a year cap hit?
It depends. If I'm contending Justin Simmons, Justin Simmons can be a difference maker on a team contending. Jerry Jeudy's not going to be a difference maker on a team contending, but if you're a team like the Colts, for example, or if you're like the Carolina Panthers, Jeudy makes a lot of sense because you can work him into that offense and he can grow within that offense.
Right.
I think it's two different mindsets of why you would trade.
Right. And again, it's a receiver versus a safety, man. I mean, we see receivers go for crazy value, and I'm not saying Jeudy is on the level of like the AJ Browns or the Stephon Diggs type of trade that could happen, but like, if you were to tell me a team said, we believe in the potential of Jerry Jeudy and we're willing to give up like a second, maybe that'd be absolutely crazy. But like, I mean, a team was willing to give up a second this past offseason. And then a team says, we've got 30-year-old Justin Simmons. He's making $18 million a year. He's already coming off an ankle injury. And he's like, again, this isn't me trying to put it on Justin Simmons. I think teams are going to use that as leverage against Justin Simmons. Hey man, you're not even really, you're having a quote down year, even though he might not be. I think the league will look at it. You're having a down year. You've been hurt 2 games already this season. Why would we give up a high value pick for that?
Sure. All right. Before we head out, Frankie, I want to get score predictions. Give me your score prediction, man. I want to know, what do you have?
I mean, I'm gonna
yesterday, so I'm willing. I want to hear yours.
Are we? I don't even know. I'll go like the Chiefs score probably 35 or 38 points. And then I think the Broncos score like 24.
Okay. Yeah. You're around 24. Where I was. I think I was 34-21 is what I think I had.
But I'll say this. I think, and here's, because I was, I listened to the LTBs on the other day. I was hearing you guys. I know I think the Chiefs aren't going to run up the score. I think it's going to be more embarrassing than that. I think Andy Reid just pulls the starters.
Okay.
I think he straight up college footballs it, and in like the end of the third quarter, he's like, I'm just going to I don't even know who their backup is right now. He just throws in their backup QB, throws in some backups, and they probably score a touchdown with that unit. And then
wait, Frankie, we have breaking news real quick.
Oh God.
I'm hearing, I haven't heard it yet. I would love if anyone has this, please type what he said. Steve Smith apparently had some words about Jerry Jeudy on NFL Network as a sideline reporter. And I'm seeing clips of Jerry Jeudy standing behind him as he's giving calls, dancing behind him. And then there's another video of him like yelling something. So if anyone knows what happened, let me know.
Do people like?
I'll give it 5.
I wanted to, what we don't gotta like get into all the like. It's such a two-sided coin because on one hand, like yes, Jeudy like is a little bit. I don't like. I hate the term diva, but like he does do the social media, game a little bit. He can be a little bit of a. He can be a wide receiver, I guess you can say, because I feel like that's how a lot of receivers around the league are, where they kind of they I don't know the hidden knife or whatever the tweet is from like Carter Donick or whatever it is. But then, man, people be on Judy's ass, man. Like,
can I tell you what he said real quick?
Yes, let's hear it.
It's a minute clip. This is Ari. If anyone knows My Sports Update.
Yep.
Yeah. He says, Steve Smith Jr. just destroyed Jerry Jeudy on NFL Network. Says if any NFL team calls about trading for him, he'll tell them not to.
Wow. Well, that sucks. There goes his value, I guess.
It's not going down. People aren't going to listen to that, but yeah. And then there's other clips. But anyways, guys, I think that's all for today's show. If you guys liked these pregame shows, let us know. This is something that
trade the Caleb Williams pick.
Yeah, right. Frankie, let everyone know where they can find you, man.
Yeah, Frankie's Film on Twitter. Let's Talk Broncos YouTube channel. Like and subscribe it. Go watch the film review of last week's game. There's some actually pretty cool stuff. Patrick Surtain Garrett Wilson's like, I mean, I know Garrett Wilson's obviously very good, but Garrett Wilson's like maybe one of the best route runners in the NFL. I was like, damn, this dude's cooking. There were a couple like he ran a slant near the goal line where he lost Patrick. Man, calling Surtain Patrick sounds weird. But yeah, Let's Talk Broncos on YouTube and follow me on Twitter, Frankie's Film.
Cool. Yeah, make sure you're calling Frankie. He dropped a video today for a film breakdown. Watch that before the game starts. I'm going to send all you guys off. Please like and subscribe to the Broncos stuff. We have literally Broncos content coming out every day. Bree, Zach, and I just did Broncos Country last night. If you guys haven't checked that out, that'll be on the iHeart app or I guess Spotify. Just look at Broncos Country tonight. That was super fun. But until next time, guys, go Broncos. Paul, you rock.